Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the next process into the water treatment, which is sedimentation. So here we will be discussing mainly about the settling theory and the fundamentals behind the sedimentation. Okay, so let's see that where this sedimentation comes in water treatment. So you will be doing the screening that we did, aeration we did, coagulation and flocculation is nothing but adding certain chemicals so that sediment and the suspended particles come closer and become bigger in size and settle down easily. And after coagulation flocculation, we come to the thing that is sedimentation, where we are going to focus in today's lecture. Okay, and then we'll be having filtration and disinfection. So we'll see that in later parts of the series. Now we'll start with the sedimentation. So let's see the basic principle behind sedimentation. So basically, what is sedimentation? So it's a process of removing the suspended particles, process of removing suspended particles from water by allowing them to settle under the action of gravity. So that means when the gravity is there, like you will be just putting the water into some resting area, and then you will give it some time, so the particles which are there into the water, whichever are suspended in suspended form, then that particle will get settled down. And why? Because of the action of gravity. Okay, so this is what a sedimentation process is. Now if I want to explain you with the help of a diagram, so you see this is the sedimentation tank. It will be open from the top part, and you can see there here we have inlet from which the dirty water comes in. That means the water which has suspended particles. So we also call it raw water. So it has colloidal particles and all. Okay, and then in this tank, in this sedimentation tank, this will be there for some time. So due to gravity, the particles will start settling down, right? So here this zone will be known as sludge zone. So here the settled solids will be collected. So you can see this is the pipe and the setup. From this setup, the sludge will be taken out, and the water, which is clean, will go from the top side, and this is the outlet for the water. So the clarified water will go from, it will be collected from the top, and then it will go for the further processes. So if I want to see, the purpose for sedimentation is to remove settleable suspended solids, reduce turbidity, and then reduce the filtration units and produce clearer water, right? And the principle behind is that heavier particles will settle down under the action of gravity, right? And then we'll be seeing this type of settling in later zones. So that can we can discuss in uh, later part of this lecture only. So factors affecting settling are the particle size, more the particle size, particle density. We'll be discussing all these. Water temperature, and then we have water viscosity, then particle shape, and then concentration of the particle. More the particle, more will be the settlement, right? So settling down into the sedimentation tank happens. So the tanks are of two types: horizontal flow and vertical flow. So we have a rectangular tank in horizontal flow. So the flow will be from inlet to outlet, and then we have vertical flow. We will be discussing these in detail. So you see, this is some kind of sedimentation tank which looks like this. Okay, so let's move further. So here we have that why do particles settle? So there are three forces due to which the particles are getting settled down. So we have gravitational force, I can say Fg. We have buoyant force, Fb, and then we have drag force. Let's say it as Ft. Okay. So we have a tank, something like this. Okay. Let's say. What should be the size? in this I have a particle. Okay, this particle will be acted upon by a force, that is gravity, and because it's in water there will be a force at upward direction, we call it as buoyant force, and because it's uh, due to gravity it's coming down, so that means there will be a drag acting in the opposite direction. So this is Ft, right? Now if I see at the equilibrium, sigma Fy will be equal to 0. From that, if I want to see, we have Fb plus Fd minus Fg is equal to 0, right? So from this, I can say that Fg is equal to Fb plus Fd, right? So this is at equilibrium, okay? But initially, what will happen? So initially if I see, we'll be having the gravity, which is the gravitational force will be more than the summation of Fb plus Fd, right? Because if this becomes equal, then it will not settle that much, right? Initially the settling is very fast because gravitational force becomes equal, becomes more than Fb summation of Fb and Fd. But eventually what will happen, I can see eventually that this Fg will become equal to Fb plus Ft. And at this condition, the velocity which particle will have will be settling velocity. So we will be calling it as settling velocity. Now let's move to the further thing, which is particle characteristics. So now we knew that there is something called settling velocity. So the particle characteristics are uh, is the thing which we call as settling. Okay, so what determines the settling? So that is settling velocity. So this is dependent on the size of particle, first of all, density of particle, shape of the particle, viscosity of the particle, and temperature of the particle, right? We'll be discussing these in detail. So but this we should know that in on these parameters the settling will depend. Now let's see each and every parameter in detail. So we have uh, so effect of particle size is denoted by d diameter. So if so here it's mentioned that from small to medium to large, the sign shows the settling velocity. So settling velocity increases with the particle size. From smaller to it will increase to the medium one, then it will increase more to the larger one. Okay, so I can say that but it's not linear increase. That we should remember. Settling velocity is nothing but directly proportional to not the diameter but the square of the diameter. Okay, so it is proportional to the square of diameter. So let's say I have a particle whose diameter is d. I have another particle whose diameter is 2d. Okay, so if the particle size is 2d, what will be the effect on velocity? So that will be 2d whole square. So Vs comes out to be directly proportional to 4 times of d square. So initially the velocity was directly proportional to only the d square, but when the diameter increased to double of its original size, the velocity increased 4 times of what was the velocity of the original, like the particle with d diameter. So we can see that velocity is directly proportional to the density, but not linearly, right? It's we can say it's a parabolic proportionality. So Vs is 4 times increasing. So this is the effect of particle size on the settling velocity. Now, if I want to see the effect of uh, particle density, so rho p is particle density. and so the lower will be the density, slower will be the settling, right? So if it is lighter particle, it will settle down after it will take some time to settle down, and if it is higher density particle, it will settle fast. Okay, so but the thing is, this is the density of particle, and where is this particle? In water. So the average density that will come out to be is rho p minus rho, where rho is the density of water, rho p is the density of particle. So here I can say that settling velocity is directly proportional to rho p minus rho. Can I say that? Yeah, because settling velocity is directly proportional to the density. Lesser the density, lesser the velocity. Higher the density, higher the velocity. Right. Now let's move on to the next one, which we have is effect of viscosity on the settling velocity. So I can say the relationship between settling velocity and viscosity is 1 upon. So it's inversely proportional. Viscosity is denoted by mu. Okay, so you see, if at one jar I have oil, and in one jar I have water, if I put the same size of and same density of material, it will settle down in water very fast. It will not settle down in the oil that much faster. Why? Because oil is higher viscosity than water. Water has a lesser viscosity than oil. Okay, so that means the viscosity and velocity are inversely proportional. Higher the viscosity, lesser will be the velocity, right? So viscosity is higher, settling velocity will be low. And I can also say that if temperature increases, viscosity decreases. Why? So you see, if you are heating the oil, it becomes less viscous, right? So temperature increase in temperature brings uh, uh, like viscosity, it will reduce the viscosity of water. And if viscosity is reduced, settling velocity will increase. So settling velocity is dependent on temperature as well. I can say directly proportional to temperature. Higher the temperature, higher will be the velocity, right? So this is effect of viscosity. Now, if I want to see what settling velocity sum up, so settling velocity is the terminal velocity attained by a particle while settling through the water. So if I want to uh, give this settling velocity in terms of Stokes law, so the Stokes law was there. They gave, so Stokes gave the final settling velocity, which is nothing but g rho p minus rho into d square upon 18 mu. Okay, so this is settling velocity with okay. This is settling velocity in terms. We also call it as Stokes law. Okay, so this is what Stokes law is. Now, so here you can see that Vs is directly proportional to rho p upon rho p minus rho. Vs is directly proportional to d square, and Vs is inversely proportional to mu. Right. So this is what Stokes law is. Now there is one catch. Like, can we use this Stokes law everywhere, or do we have some conditions to use this? So that means Stokes law, we should know that only applies into the laminar settling regime. Okay, so laminar settling regime will be identified by the Reynolds number, right? So it will be identified by the Reynolds number, and Reynolds number is given by Re, denoted by Re. It is rho v. V is settling velocity into d, particle size, upon mu, and rho is the density of water here, not the particle. So because I want to see if the flow is laminar or not, right? So the flow is laminar, so density will be of water. So Re, so according to the Reynolds number, I'll be seeing that if it is following the flow regime or not, particle flow regime. Okay, so if it is following the laminar settling regime, then only Stokes law will be valid, and that will be known by the Reynolds number rho v s into d upon mu. Right, now let's move on to the types of settling. So we have, depending upon the amount of suspended particles and other things, concentration and their interaction in between them, we divide the settling types of settling in four types. So we have discrete settling. So in discrete settling, you can see the particles settle individually. So they are not interacting with each other. So they just settle down individually. So this is discrete. Okay. And then we have flocculent settling. So particles will make flocks, will make a bigger size particle, and then they will be coming down. So it's flocculent settling. And then we have hindered zone. Hindered zone, that means, okay, so the flocculent settling will happen when the concentration becomes higher than discrete. Then it will make flocks and settle down. But when concentration becomes more than this, then there will be hindered or zone settling. So there will be like high concentrations in like if water has higher concentration or suspended particles, then particles interfere with one another and settle as a zone blanket. So you will be seeing, you will be seeing there will be a zone of clear water, and there will be a zone where settling is getting happen. So that is hindered or settling zone. And then if high concentration is very high, then we'll be seeing the compression settling. So at very high concentration, particles are in contact with one another, and then they settle in compression. Okay, so yeah, and also if I want to see the example, so for this discrete one, we have sand, silt, grit, they settle discretely, and then coagulated water, organic flock, activated sludge settle like the flocculated one. And then we have activity sludge, LM flocks. These will have the hindered settling. And then compression settling will be of thickened sludge, sewage sludge, indigester. So like pure sludge will settle into the compression settling. Yeah. So we have next thing, which is quiescent settling. Now quiescent settling is one in which the water is at rest, and there is no continuous inflow or outflow. So water is at rest and there is nothing like inflow or outflow going on. Okay, so this is what quiescent settling is. So it occurs when the water is essentially at rest, there is no inflow or outflow. Now, so if I want to show you in detail what's quiescent settling, so what we are doing in this, so there is no inflow or outflow, that means water is not coming into, so there will be simply a tank. In that tank water will be there, nobody is disturbing that, there is no inflow of water, more water into that, there's no outflow of the water from the tank, so it's just kept separately. Okay, so now in this so there will be, it will be at rest without any inflow and outflow. So you can see uh, in batches you will see it. So uniformly mixed suspension at initial time, after some time you see that particles starting settling, and then after some time you will be seeing that there is a zone of clear water in that. After a long time you will see that this settling zone is increasing, and then further after a longer time you will be seeing that particles are settled fully. Okay, so the concentration distribution at a particular time, you see that concentration of solid, you see at upper zone it will be clear water zone approximately, and then you will be seeing that settling zone concentration with decreases with depth. So this with depth concentration will decrease. Now at this depth you will be seeing there will be a constant sludge zone, so constant concentration. So the feature for quiescent settling is quiescent tank. Water is at rest, there is no inflow outflow, we know that. Particle settles under gravity here. Clear water collects at top. Concentration decreases with depth. in settling zone, concentration is constant in the sludge zone. Okay, and then we saw there are three zones: clear water, settling, and sludge zone. But application of this is, see, because we have to leave it from the outside world, so no inflow, no outflow, so it is mainly performed into labs for so the basic characteristic, to find out the settling characteristics, we use it in laboratory. In real time we can't use this, it is ineffective. Okay, so basis for design of continuous flow sedimentation tank. So after studying the settling of particle and like every parameter which is required to design a sedimentation tank, we perform that on quiescent tank only, and then it will be used to make a continuous flow sedimentation tank, and it helps in determining the settling velocity of particle. Okay, so it's important because it is used for further larger scale production. So we have continuous flow settling. So we'll be seeing continuous flow in detail. So we have batch process. Like we are doing the comparison between quiescent setting and continuous flow settling. So we have here batch process. This is continuous process. No continuous inflow outflow. There is continuous inflow outflow. Setting column concept, but here sedimentation tank will be there. Useful for settling analysis. Used in treatment plant. So the actual water treatment plant generally uses continuous flow sedimentation tank. This we already know. Now you see what is continuous flow sedimentation tank. So it is same as we saw the sedimentation tank in initial uh, uh, part of the lecture. So I showed you the picture. So there will be some inlet where from where raw water is coming. There is outlet from where the clarified water is collecting. There will be settling zone. Then there will be sludge zone. Sludge will be taken out from the bottom of the tank, and then there will be two types of sedimentation tank: horizontal and vertical. So flow is horizontal from inlet to outlet. Here vertical flow is downward, radial flow towards the center. So downward flow is going like it's happening towards the center. Okay, so this is type of continuous flow sedimentation. Now, there are types of continuous flow tanks, that is, we discussed horizontal, vertical, and then rectangular and circular. Rectangular is horizontal and circular is vertical or radial flow. Okay. Now, we'll be going in detail of these and how to design this, different design parameters and the numericals will be discussed in the next lecture. So, I hope you understood this, and thank you.